When you hear the word stewardship, what do you think? To many, it's a word that speaks about how you use your time, talents, and money in relation to the church or the church budget. Or it's about tithing, giving God the 10% that He requires from you and then keeping 90%. Stewardship has become an interchangeable word for budget, a way to navigate through difficult financial challenges, and it is that. But what if stewardship is more? What if it's not about the 10% you give away, but what you do with the other 90% you keep? It's about seeking a right relationship with God and one another with everything you are and have been given. That money is simply the tip of the iceberg. What if true stewardship asks for 100% of us and not just 10%? What if it's not just about what you do in church, but how we manage and use our health, skills, abilities, time, resources, and opportunities? That it's not about where you work and how much you make, but how you work and how you treat those you work with, like in the stories of Daniel or Joseph. It's about choosing a simple life, not because you're cheap, but because you want to be free to walk lightly on this earth and really make a difference with everything you've earned in order to change the world. Stewardship is learning how not to worry about the things of life and not conforming to the patterns of this world, but choosing a better way. You see, when we worry, we're afraid no one will help us when we are in need. We start to hold tightly to everything. We begin to hoard. But Jesus tells us the secret of life is to let go of the fear and the things that are taking our hearts captive, and to trust and follow Him. To be willing to share and give yourself away. Which is why we're not just called to be stewards, we are called to be generous as well. Generous stewards. And this changes everything. You cannot have one without the other. They are two words that only find their full meaning when said in the same breath. The question that often follows any mention of stewardship is, how much must I give or budget or allocate? However, the deeper question generosity asks of stewardship is, how little do I need to keep? How can I be a good steward so that I can generously give myself away? This causes us to look at life very differently. We look at work as a part of our worship, an opportunity to excel in how God made us no matter what the job is we are doing. We look at rest and play as a gift, an opportunity not only to enjoy and celebrate the good things He has made, but also to renew ourselves in Him. We look at stuff, not as ours, but given to us so that we can look after each other. We look at needs, not with scarcity, but with gratitude. Even if it feels like we have nothing, we know that we have been given everything we need to do what God asks of us. We look at money as a gift and an opportunity to make a difference. And as we steward in all things, we then begin to give in all things also. Stewardship of all and generosity in all, two sides of the same coin. We give our first fruits because God gave His first fruit, His one and only Son. We give to the church because Jesus gave Himself for the church and loves her and calls her His bride. We give to the church because together as one body we can make a difference. We give to missions because Jesus died for every tongue, every tribe, and every nation. We give to widows and orphans because we were alone and fatherless and God adopted us as His children. We give to the lost because we were lost and He sought us and found us. We do not hold back, budget or tithe any part of our lives. We give all ourselves because Jesus held nothing back in giving all of Himself on the cross. We do not give to get a blessing. We're already blessed through Jesus, and so we generously give. We come to realize that our whole life, work, play, rest, worship, abilities, and opportunities are all gifts from God, and so we return them to Him as acts of worship with a joyful and grateful heart. This requires that we be transformed by a renewing of our minds, as Paul describes in Romans 12. This is a renewing that Jesus is waiting to work in us. This is what makes us set apart. It's what makes us His church. We steward or manage faithfully everything we have so that we can generously give. This is generous stewardship. It looks like Jesus.